Hi, welcome. I'm Wes Shimoda, the VJCC president. I want to welcome everybody to the 9th annual VJCC Sake Social. Unlike last year where we were able to see everybody in person, this year, unfortunately, because of the circumstances, we're going to have our Sake Social virtually. So sit back and enjoy the presentation.
I am Scott Hada. I am the third generation of Aki Restaurant, which my grandfather started. 1974 in Sun Valley, and they moved to this location in 1976. So it was a better opportunity from Hiroshima, Japan, and doing what you had to do to survive as a Japanese immigrant. I grew up in these, running around. We used to make bentos for my G-chan, his Shigin groups, and they were going up to 100, 200 bentos, and I'd have to come and help out early on the weekends and try to fill the orders. And now that I look back on it, it's definitely been one of the building blocks of where I've come from, just to be able to make everything in the bento, put it together. It's not just one person, it's a collaboration of our family, our friends, our employees, our community. So, man, it's just deep to me here, and I'm kind of lucky that I was in this situation. So I'm very grateful.
So since this is on Saturday, right? So we gotta do from basically we gotta pre-start on Thursday evening after work, and then we've got to do it again Friday evening, and then we'll have a crew coming in to help us pack. Yeah, looks good. Yeah. You guys still remember? Very good.
Well, this is not complete, right?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Please enjoy. Something like this. Yeah, approve? On, that,
This is
yes.
really good.
Okay.
This is really good.
Something like my grandparents used to make. Yes. Alright, that works. I'm happy, he's happy.
Yeah, when he was young, say in late teens, he used to work in a sake brewery called Kamotsuru. This was in Hiroshima.
For him to introduce me to sake, when I was working here, we would carry some of the sakes that he was helping out back then. And I was like, wow, that's pretty cool that he really kept in connection with that kind of stuff. And I looked up to my grandfather, always a nice guy and very, very witty guy. So, I wanted to be like my grandfather. So I guess that's where my passion or my love of sake came from. And first off, we have Dassai 23 from the Asahi Shuzo Brewing Company. It's an excellent sake from an excellent brewery, established in 1948 in Yamaguchi Prefecture. The Dassai name comes from an old tale of otters playing in the river, and they would catch the fish and spread them out on the shores as to show off in a festival. Dassai 23 is polished down 77% of its original grain. Polishing of the rice is about milling the grain or taking the husk and just grinding it down to the bare core starchy essence, almost like a pearl rice essence. That took them, according to some facts, about 144 hours. When you put your heart and soul into something, only good could come out of it with the good intentions that from where they created it. I think you'll feel the pride. Hey y'all. We have the Dassai 23, and this is the one that's polished down to 77%. So ultra premium sake for the amount of work to get just this small bottle. So please enjoy, okay? Okay, remember, go slow with this one. You'll enjoy it to the very last sip, and it goes fast. So right off the bat, I get the aromatics. Very floral, slight sweetness, a little bit of citrus. And by pouring it in a stemmed wine glass, you're able to kind of see the clarity. And I like to keep my Junmai Daiginjos cold, so without touching it and warming up the base stem, it kind of keeps the essence, so it slowly opens up as the atmosphere warms it up. You see some tail on the glass where the viscosity kind of lingers a little longer. Very clean, very, I could say, silky already. Kanpai. Ooh, that's just excellent sake by an excellent brewery. You get the aromatics of the floral note. You get a little bit of sweet. You get a little bit of the alcohol. You get some tart to balance. And the alcohol kind of cleanses the palate. And then at the end of the tail part of the sake going down, it's kind of joyful in a sense. It doesn't have the high impact of stick you, or burn you, or it's very clean. This would probably pair better with the lighter dishes because the ultra fine polishing, basically polishing away more of the flavor to get the clean essence of the rice flour, I like to explain it as. So maybe the nishime or the edamame, or maybe with the salmon shioyaki, the salted salmon in the bento. And sinomono, it's kind of refreshed with the sweet and the sour and the cleanness to kind of just open your palate for the next bite. Oishii.
Well, his father had a restaurant in Toledo, Ohio. And then, after Depression, about 1932, they went back to Japan. And then since he was born here in the U.S., when you go back to U.S., start the restaurant business. How about you?
Okay, this is the original picture of the Toledo, Ohio. 1925 is their Ohio restaurant license. And this is my grandfather. This is my aunt that died at 102. And this is uncle, his brother, younger brother. Yeah, this tells a story about the pass.
That's the year my grandfather was born, and I guess they had the restaurant going. And he would be in the background playing as a kid in the basement or the back room, and so he has some vivid memories of this like diner slash coffee shop during the segregation days where blacks and the whites have to, you know, be separated. And it's funny that one side is painted and the other side isn't, and then after it relieves some of the tension, then my uncle and my grandfather just kind of renovated and put their take on a American cafe diner donut shop. So very interesting. So I guess maybe that's why I have it in my blood. I love that story actually. And to see this, it's very, very touching and keeps me grounded. That's my grandparents, the one you saw with my dad today, his late wife, and then the Sun Valley Aki Restaurant. In a small, like 10-seater restaurant.
Yeah, because at that time I was in the Navy. After I got out, I started helping there. And then 5-year lease was up, so that's why we decided to sell that place, come back to sell it. Which is a great decision we made.
And to be able to open up this restaurant and add the banquet and an upstairs banquet, they didn't do it just for themselves, you know. They did it, they built the ground and the framework for the next generation.
Our case, you know, he, you know, made a foundation and I took over, and now, you know, well, myself and my brother, if it wasn't for my brother's help, you know, it's rough, you know. So like Scott, you know, he has his brother to, you know, support him. So, you know, it makes operating the restaurant business a little easier. But then, you know, if you could handle the long hours, you know, there's a lot of rewards.
My grandma used to make the sauce, the teriyaki sauce or the sukiyaki sauce, and you know, all our recipes are from I would say my grandparents, my dad. So the taste is, you know, I don't think it's that much different than others, but it's what we refine to our liking, and we've gotten to know that if you like it and you did your best that you could do, then hopefully somebody else is gonna like it as well. And that's what I kind of, you know, we live our lives nowadays trying to replicate, which is not easy. And to be able to continue it, we have to kind of look into things and explore our options on uncharted territory, as well as keep true to our roots.
Like on the weekend, they order big orders, you know. Right away I can tell, you know, this is a, you know, small family get together. So it's nice, you know, especially like on Saturday and Sunday, you know. A lot of kids move out of West LA, and then over the weekend they come back and they, you know, have dinner at the house with parents.
It's pretty awesome actually, you know, like for people to come in and, hey, how you guys been? You know, it's like, sorry we haven't come by. It's like, we so understand, you know, and just that, it just brings a laughter in our hearts, and they really care about us, and we care about everyone, and it's just sad to see everyone that's like from on the other side of the glass.
You know, if it's not for the, you know, Japanese or, you know, loyal, you know, customer, I don't think, you know, we can survive. But, you know, since we've been here so many years, we get a lot of support from, you know, community, you know.
Thanks to our awesome followers and, you know, the people that support us. So I just want to say thank you everyone for that. It's just arigato. Thank you. Next, we have the lineup from Kikusui Brewery from the Niigata region. They started in 1881, Takazawa family, I say, and now in the 5th generation of business. So very special, something that I could relate to and appreciate and look up to. The name Kikusui meaning kiku, chrysanthemum, and sui, water, chrysanthemum water. And the tale is that explorer is set out by his master to find the fountain of youth. In the hills, he comes across this mountain hermit. The story behind him is he was banished or exiled into the hills by his lord 700 years ago. And in exile, he was sent sutra in pity from his lord. And in order to remember these sutra, he transcribed it onto the leaf of the chrysanthemum. And from the dew collected on it, he would drink, and it would grant him eternal youth. So it was said that he lived to about 700 years old. And that's where the name Kikusui comes from, chrysanthemum water. This is Funaguchi Original Gold. It is Japan's #1 namazake, and they call it cask strength because it's undiluted. This is a honjozo. So honjozo is fortified with a proprietary blend or distilled alcohol. So they add that into the brewing process, like wine. Variations of the same grape, different regions, or even the same region, different years create different flavors, and so in a sense rice could possibly be like that. So by adding distilled alcohol, it kind of balances the flavor. It gained a great popularity in the Winter Olympics of Sapporo in Hokkaido because it's very versatile. It's hardy container. You could go from location and venue to venue. And it also won the International Wine Challenge in 2014 gold prize for the Honjozo sake. Hey, next up we have the Kikusui Funaguchi gold can. And remember, this is Nama and Genshu, so first impressions is Nama. They said that they fill the can all the way to the top and seal it to kind of remove all the air. Yeah, it's on there pretty tight. Ooh, interesting. You could either sip it from the can or pour it in a glass to share, like some of the sake tasters with the bento. So we'll do both, okay? So, okay. Right off the bat, it's nice, clear. You could tell there's a yellow hint to it. Well, in the can, you could see a yellow hint, okay? Okay. It's very reminiscent of probably, I would say, umami-rich sake. But off the bat, there is definitely umami-ness, a little fruitiness. I could even smell some of the alcohol. I don't know if you could see the little kind of liveliness going on there. There's some small, fine bubbles in there. So that's the nama, the fresh, unpasteurized. Oh, it's very different than it smells. It's very nice, actually. You get a little more sweet fruitiness on the initial hit. The nose is more like I said, umami-rich scent of like more brewing of the soy sauce kind of umami scent. But it's lively and not as heavy as this aroma. And I guess it's the added alcohol that kind of balances out the peakiness, I guess, and smooths it out. And It's a surprisingly mellows out with higher impact and good flavors. Oh, it's a good transition from the mid to the finish, and it leaves I would say a soft, slightly fruity, cleansing, not at all overpowered by the alcohol of 19%. It's a good balance, yeah. For a honjozo, it's very good. And with the bento, oh, this would go with the lighter dishes like the nishimi, the simmered vegetables, to seaweed salad that we have, to the salmon shioyaki. Very, very good, clean, canned sake. Next up, we have the Kikusui Funaguchi Kunko Black Can. And kunko means aromatic. So once you open this can, the aromatics will present itself to you. The special thing about this sake is it is a ginjo. And to be considered ginjo, unlike honjozo, is that you have to polish it more. So this one is polished 60%, and this one is polished less at 70%. This is kind of special because it kind of encompasses the Japanese culture of using as much and every part of the process as you can. Once the production of this sake is complete, they have the leftover from the sake process as the kasu, and they use again and they distill it. They don't use a special brewer's alcohol like ethyl. This one is like a shochu basically, because they distill the rice, and the process of distilling leads to making shochu. And it has a 19% alcohol, and it's fortified by shochu, and this is by brewer's alcohol. Up next is the Kikusui Funaguchi Black Can Kunko. Once again, I would recommend these cold again, so keep it refrigerated once you get home, or maybe on ice right before you open it. Not as a full umami aroma, but there is a slight brewed soy sauce umami kind of mixed in with like fruity hazelnut. Okay. Oh. And I'm using the stemless one, so a little more versatile. You could warm it up with your temperature. Have the aromatics of swirling around in the glass. Kunko means aromatic, so to get the full effect like a wine. Oh, this one you could definitely have the alcohol aroma kick come out. Definitely aromatic in that sense. Right. I guess it's the mending of the sake with the shochu that creates a little bit of that nougat, chocolatey, hazelnut. But it's very easy to drink, and that should pair well with thicker, heavier tasting items of the bento, like the fried shumai, chicken teriyaki, even the sesame seaweed salad with sesame oil. I think it will do well with pretty much everything. Maybe even go with the dessert as well. So please have fun. Up next is the Kikusui Perfect Snow, and this one is unfiltered sake. It is a nigori. It's a 21% alcohol, so it's a genshu. So this one has coarsely filtered rice particles in it. So in a sense, when you're drinking it, you could actually have a textural experience of the rice particles. So during the bento, I encourage you to just eat some rice and kind of just chew on it to get the sweetness and the flavor profile of rice, which transcends into the sakes, and maybe you can understand why the nigori has sweetness, you know, balance with the flowery aromas and citrus and the sour that is balanced with the alcohol. So very interesting, high alcohol, and Japan's #1 nigori. Okay, now we have the Kikusui no Perfect Snow. So I'd recommend you shake it first. Okay. You can see the milky creaminess of it. And you gotta shake it to get the rice that settles through that heavier so it's mixed perfectly. Hey. You get a flowery note to it, slight alcohol, right? It's more on the thicker side. Actually, you get to kind of chew through it and kind of let you have a little more sensation of enjoying it. You have a sweetness from the rice, the alcohol kick. You get the chewiness like I was saying before. I think about the Kikusui cans, it's a little more bolder, impactful, more profile than just like a regular sake. And to remind you to kind of try the rice in the bento, you could kind of seek out the natural flavor of the rice. Some people may say it's tasteless, but the more you chew on it and smash it and kind of break it down in your mouth, the flavor will kind of open up like it is in the sake. So the coarsely filtered leads to a more thicker, more bolder sensation that could hold up to the fried items in the bento, to the oilier items. Yeah, it could even pair with maybe fruits in the bento or the dessert. So very versatile. At 21% alcohol, it may not resemble that on first impressions, but be careful, okay?
I'm Valerie Harada. I'm a general dentist. I practice in Culver City. This is how we do all of our meetings. What kind of tooth doctor are you? I'm a general dentist. So my dad is also a dentist. So I work with my dad. My grandfather started the practice actually back in the 50s. So yeah, work with my dad. A lot of our patients are involved here at the VJCC, so it's fun to have that connection with them too. It's really like a family feel.
I played basketball for West LA. I grew up, born and raised in West LA, so it was baseball and basketball, and I did both, but basketball stuck with me longer. To this day, which I still play, and I also used to coach after I finished my tenure, or growing up through the leagues, and they asked me to coach, and I was like, okay, and yeah.
Yeah, so after my grandpa finished dental school, then they moved to Culver City area. Yeah, and my dad went to middle school, like over there. And then when they moved to Culver City. I know my grandma, I used to go to Ikebana classes and sumie here with my auntie. I went to Culver City High School. Yeah, so super local. I used to do some stuff here at the VJCC when I was younger. I played basketball, you know, just looking for that community.
Growing up, there was all kinds of Japanese stores in the Sawtell area, and you know, I grew up here, the Japanese school. To be Japanese American and to be able to grow up with, you know, friends of the same background, it helped me develop the cultural aspect.
I guess, you know, you don't really think about it too much, like when you're going through high school or whatever. But then when you leave and then you come back, then you realize like, oh, I do know a lot of people, and then, oh, they do have a similar background or a similar upbringing. So sometimes it's easier to, you know, make those friendships.
Well, the Japanese community is, you know, very dispersed now, and all the gentrification, and you know, it's just, you used to be able to drive by the neighborhood and see who was a Japanese house.
To keep the Japanese American community alive and together, especially on the west side, I feel like is really hard because a lot of people have moved away. YAC was started like we were trying to get young people to come. You know, how do we get our generation to come back and to help and to be crazy people like us, you know? That's, you know, partly why we created Sake Social, because your friends will drink and they'll come and they'll drink with you. Scott's actually my patient, but I don't know if that's HIPAA violation. Okay, good.
And I needed some work done, so on the applications, he said, oh, you work at Aki Restaurant? It's like, yes, I'm part of the family.
Oh, hey, like, do you want to partner? Like, maybe we should try to get an event together.
They were thinking of a sake tasting event for the young group.
That first year, we were like scrounging for people. We were like calling our families and like telling them, hey, you need to come.
Starting in our little banquet room of 40 people.
And then every year it got a little bit bigger and a little bit bigger. When we were able to move it to the VJCC, that's when it just really took off.
To be able to use the gym for an event, it's very flattering. To be able to see these faces at the sake event, oh my, it brings just joy to me that we're all linked in a sense that, you know, we're local, you know?
We like to see everyone happy and having a good time, and then, you know, to tie it back into the center, we want it to have some kind of cultural significance. So, you know, everybody likes alcohol, so, you know, we might as well learn about sake. Like, there aren't too many places where you can learn about that. And, you know, doing it over the years, it's really interesting to hear Scott talk about the nuances and the little small things that you know, you don't necessarily appreciate when you go out and you're just drinking your sake, whatever. But now I actually like look at the label, I'm like, oh yeah, Scott talked about this.
Everyone's brought together and having fun with the sake, and just the organizers are always awesome, you know, and well executed, I might say, because I think the results speak for itself, you know. People are constantly giving me rave reviews like, wow, you know, when's the next one already? And it just, yeah, a little bit after the previous ones.
It's just really amazing to see. I'm really proud of the work that we've done to make this event so successful.
Our last sake is more of a dessert, playful dessert sake. It's called the Ikezo Sake Jelly Shot Peach flavor. And this is from the Ozeki Brewery. Ozeki Brewery is one of the bigger ones that are well known throughout the world. They even have started a brewery in the United States. Brewery Ozeki was founded in 1711 in the Nara region of Hyogo near Osaka. And they have been pushing the envelope and commercializing sake for the masses. They say peach contains a compound called ceramide, which is good for youthful skin. So maybe it'll be a fun time and a good time for everyone. I believe it's a fun take, you know. I mean, there are the diehard traditionalists that says, no, that's not sake, you know. It doesn't have the, 4 original ingredients, nor is it the honjozo or, fortified with alcohol. In a sense, it's in its own category, like the sparkling sakes now. Very affordable, it's cute, it's playful, and it's a great start. But it's definitely a good time in a small can. So please enjoy maybe as a dessert or just whenever you have a chance for a light, refreshing, slightly sparkling jelly sake. And this one you're supposed to shake about 20 times. Oh, nice peach aroma. You get the little fizziness from the sparkling. And be careful it doesn't spray out, okay? Right. Oh, wow. Yeah, it's a vegan gelatin, so it's friendly for all of you. Has nice bubbles for the sparkling, and it's a little thick. Kanpai. Oh yeah. Very easy to drink, low alcohol. Nice jelly texture in your mouth with the peach and fizziness from the sparkling, and nice refreshing kind of sake dessert. Enjoy. For me, it's an appreciation of my grandparents and their struggles, as well as my great-grandparents. I was growing up here in American culture, but dancing around the influences of my grandparents in the Japanese community, and I guess that's why, in a sense, I'm continuing on this business where I could introduce myself and who I am and where I came from to the customer. I want to pass that along if I can, in a sense, and I'm just happy that I'm here and Aki Restaurant is here and the community is able to have these kind of opportunities for us, and it's been unreal in a sense that I'm here talking on interview on the camera and being able to share a little of me. So arigato.
Welcome back. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, the delicious sake and the wonderful bentos made by Aki's Restaurant. I want to thank Scott Hara and Aki's Restaurant for their support of this event. Without their support and involvement, this event wouldn't have happened. And without their involvement, prior sake socials wouldn't have happened. And I also want to thank the VJCC Sake Social Committee. Without their leadership of putting this together and coordinating everything, we wouldn't have been able to hold this wonderful event. And I also want to thank each and every one of you. Without your continued support of the VJCC, during this past year with this COVID crisis, and also in prior years, the VJCC wouldn't have existed and we wouldn't have been able to continue running. So with the 100-year, oh yeah, forgot, this is the 100-year anniversary of the VJCC. So once we reopen, crossing my fingers, hopefully this summer, we hope to have a 100-year celebration at the VJCC, whereby I'm hoping to see each and every one of you at the VJCC at this celebration. I also want to give you an update that, as you know, 100% of the proceeds of this event are going to the remodeling of the VJCC bathrooms. And the bathrooms, as you can tell, they haven't been updated since they were originally built. This is going to be a major remodeling of the bathrooms. We're ripping out the pipes, all the fixtures and everything else in the bathrooms. We're actually flipping the men's and women's bathroom to allow more space for the women's bathroom. Because, you know, after the polling of the membership, most guys don't really care. But of course, the women prefer to have an updated bathrooms. And more importantly, we're also putting contactless faucets and toilets in the bathroom to create a safe environment when everybody comes back after the COVID restrictions are lifted. So more details will be upcoming in the next VJCC newsletter. So keep your eyes out for the newsletter for more details. And once again, if you'd like to contribute to the remodel of the VJCC bathroom, you can go to the VJCC's webpage and make a donation that way. Hope to see everybody soon. Take care and enjoy the rest of the weekend.